coming up here, and Rufero and Garcia, all these guys that helped make this beach so great. And then the next generation comes, and the next generation, and we get more great people and more great players, and really none greater than our next recipient, Karch Kiraly.
Well, first of all, hopefully I don't blow the speaker out here. A huge thank you to you all for coming out and honoring so many things here. A small part of it is me honoring Henry. We heard a lot of words about him, and just East Beach. So thank you. I'm deeply touched to have a crowd of this size to come to honor Santa Barbara volleyball, or one of Santa Barbara's. Two things come to mind for me, and number one, we're nothing without our memories. If I lose my memory, I'm not me anymore. And so I have so many special memories here, and I'll just recount a few of them. As my dad Laz said, the courts used to be, in the 50s and 60s, more centered around the bathhouse, and so we still have some old film. But my first volleyball memory was that on weekends, because we were here, my dad was in his internship year of medicine and worked really hard during the week, 80 to 100-hour work weeks, and then our time together as a family with my mom Tony, my dad Laz, and I would be to come down here, and he'd get some games in, and then we'd bop the ball back and forth. And at first it was, could we keep it going 3 times, and then it was 6 times and 10, and just the challenge was to try to keep it going longer and longer. I'm impressed now that he had any energy to play with me between his games, because he expended so much energy with the yelling and the screaming and the chasing. Karch, rise and think, hit that ball! He had all the great dialogue, and I loved it once I got to play with him. But that's my first memory of East Beach, 6 years old, down there playing a little just pepper back and forth. Another great memory I have is 3 years later, at age 9, I got to play on a court. For all I know, I don't know, I think it was one of these 2 courts. Maybe you know better than I, but the very first game on a court that I ever played was 2 on 2, as we play on the beach so often. And I got to play with the mayor of East Beach at that time, Bill Conway, Seaway. And he was the reigning mayor, and he would organize all the card games. He'd decide who played where, who got the challenge. And of course, my dad was nice enough to let me play with the best player on the court, and that was age 9, first time. Fantastic memory to be able to play on this court. I consider myself really lucky to get to have been able to grow up at a time when there were no video games. Those are a particularly hypnotic attraction to young boys. It certainly would have been to me. I'm lucky that it wasn't around, so that John and I just wanted to be here or break into any gym we could in Santa Barbara to play this game. We were hooked on something that I could think of a lot worse things to be hooked on than volleyball. I was lucky to grow up at a time when there was no club volleyball. So that first game I played was with adults, not with kids who were trying to learn the game themselves. That turned out to be a huge advantage for me in my career, that from age 9 on, I got to see it how it was supposed to look, how it was supposed to be done. So that helped me model, because I had all these great visual models on how to play the game, and also how to see people across the net who were trying to hide what they wanted to do, so I could learn better how to read their intentions. And it all started at age 9, maybe right here on this court. A couple of years later, there was one of the all-time greats who played with Henry quite a bit, Larry Rundle. Had a